Detective Maya Chen pushed through the glass doors of First Commerce Bank in downtown Seattle, her worn leather jacket doing little to shield her from the November drizzle that clung to her clothes. She'd been working undercover for the DEA for 8 months, tracking a money laundering operation that stretched from the Pacific Northwest to the Mexican border. Today was supposed to be simple: deposit a cashier's check for $47,000 evidence money from a controlled sting into a monitored account. The bank hummed with the usual Monday morning chaos. Business people in expensive suits lined up behind velvet ropes, fingers flying across phone screens. Maya took her place in line, pulling the check from her jacket pocket. It was legitimate, issued by the Department of Justice, though deliberately made to look unremarkable. When her turn came, she approached a young teller named Brandon Pierce. He couldn't have been older than 25, with slicked back hair and a tie that looked like it had been knotted with a protractor. "Good morning. I need to deposit this check," Maya said, sliding the document across the marble counter. Brandon picked it up, his eyes widening slightly at the amount. He held it up to the light, turned it over, then held it up again. "This is quite a large amount." "It's a legitimate check," Maya replied evenly. "You can verify it." Brandon's jaw tightened. He glanced over his shoulder toward a glass-walled office where a man in his 50s sat reviewing documents. "I'm going to need to speak with my manager. Please wait here." Maya watched as Brandon hurried to the office, gesturing animatedly. Through the glass, she could see the manager, Gerald Hutchins, according to the nameplate she'd noticed earlier, frowning as he examined the check. Both men looked back at her, their expressions hardening into something that made Maya's stomach sink. She'd seen that look before. The assumption. The judgment. Gerald emerged from his office, Brandon trailing behind him like an eager apprentice. "Ma'am, I'm afraid we have a problem," Gerald announced loud enough that several customers turned to look. "This check appears to be fraudulent." Maya kept her voice calm. "I assure you, it's not. Call the issuing bank. They'll confirm it." "We don't need to call anyone," Gerald said, crossing his arms. "I've been in banking for 27 years. I know a fake when I see one." "Then you're wrong," Maya said, her patience wearing thin. "Make the call." Brandon leaned in toward his manager. "Should I call the police? I bet she's got warrants." Maya's eyes flashed. "I'm not a criminal. This is a simple banking transaction." "A simple transaction?" Gerald's voice dripped with condescension. "No one like you walks in here with a check for $47,000 legitimately. Do you even have an account here?" "I'm establishing one," Maya said through gritted teeth. "Which is why I'm here." Gerald shook his head, a smug smile playing at his lips. "I'm calling the police." "Brandon, keep an eye on her. Make sure she doesn't run." "This is ridiculous," Maya protested, but Gerald was already walking back to his office, phone in hand. The next 15 minutes felt like an eternity. Other customers openly stared. Maya heard whispers behind her. What did she do? Probably stole someone's checkbook. They always think they'll get away with it. She could have shown her badge right then. Could have ended the humiliation in an instant. But her cover was too important. Her team had spent months building her alias as Mira Santos, a freelance consultant with a spotty credit history. If she revealed herself now, the entire operation could collapse. The laundering network would scatter, and 8 months of work would evaporate. So she waited, jaw clenched, as Brandon watched her like she might bolt for the door at any moment. 2 patrol officers arrived 12 minutes later. The first through the door was Officer Jake Morrison, a stocky man in his 40s with a permanent scowl. His partner, Officer Lisa Yamamoto, looked younger and less certain. "This her?" Morrison asked Gerald. "That's her. Tried to deposit a fake check for 47 grand. Can you believe the audacity?" Morrison approached Maya, hand resting casually on his belt near his handcuffs. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to come with us." "Officers, there's been a misunderstanding," Maya began. "That's what they all say," Morrison interrupted. "Turn around, hands behind your back. You don't need to do this. Turn around. Now." Maya's mind raced. She could still salvage this. Stay calm, go to the station, make a phone call from there. Her supervisor could straighten it out discreetly. The story would be that the local precinct helped clear up a banking error. Her cover would hold. She turned around. The cold metal of handcuffs clicked around her wrists as Morrison pulled them tight, tighter than necessary. Around the bank, customers watched with a mixture of horror and fascination. Someone was recording on their phone. "You're making a mistake," Maya said quietly. "The only mistake here is yours, sweetheart," Morrison said, steering her toward the exit and the patrol car. Maya sat in silence while Morrison drove and Yamamoto filled out paperwork in the passenger seat. Through the divider, she could hear them talking. "Another one trying to game the system," Morrison said. They get bolder every year. She seemed pretty calm, Yamamoto observed. Usually they fight more or try to run. The professionals are like that. She's probably done this before. Maya closed her eyes, breathing slowly through her nose. Just get to the station. Make the call. This will be over soon. At the precinct, they led her through booking. Fingerprints. Photographs. The mugshot photographer told her to stop glaring. She tried to relax her expression but couldn't quite manage it. They placed her in an interview room, gray walls, metal table, the faint smell of industrial cleaner and stale coffee. Morrison left her there alone for 20 minutes, a classic intimidation tactic she'd used herself countless times. When he finally returned, he dropped a folder on the table and sat across from her. All right, Mira Santos. Want to tell me what really happened? I told you at the bank. The check is legitimate. This is a huge misunderstanding. Morrison flipped open the folder, though Maya could see it contained only a blank incident report. And where exactly did you get a $47,000 check? From my employer. Your employer? Morrison leaned back, skeptical. And who's that? It's complicated. I need to make a phone call. You'll get your call. But first, I want some answers. What were you really doing in that bank? Maya felt her composure cracking. Every minute in this room was a minute her team didn't know where she was. She'd been scheduled to check in 2 hours ago. By now, her absence would be noted. But would they realize what happened? Or would they think her cover had been blown in a different way? Officer Morrison, I'm asking you please verify the check. Call the issuing institution. This can all be cleared up in 5 minutes. Or, Morrison said, leaning forward, you can tell me the truth, and maybe we can work something out. It was then that the door opened. Lieutenant Sarah Brennan, a tall black woman with gray-streaked hair and sharp eyes, stepped inside. Morrison, a word. Outside. Now. Morrison looked annoyed but stood. Don't go anywhere, he told Maya with a thin smile. Through the door, Maya could hear raised voices but couldn't make out words. She counted ceiling tiles. 36. She was on her second count when the door opened again. Lieutenant Brennan entered alone, closing the door behind her. She studied Maya for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then she pulled out a chair and sat down. Agent Chen, she said quietly. Maya felt relief flood through her. Lieutenant. Your supervisor called. About 40 minutes ago. Said one of his agents missed a check-in. Brennan's voice was carefully neutral. Took some doing to track you here. Apparently, your arrest didn't get logged properly yet. It shouldn't have been an arrest at all. Brennan nodded slowly. I've verified your check. It's legitimate. Issued by DOJ, just like you said. She paused. I've also read Gerald Hutchins' The Riot Act, and he's currently sitting in his office wondering if he still has a job. The bank's legal department is having an emergency meeting as we speak. And Officer Morrison? Is being reminded that we verify information before we arrest people. Brennan's expression hardened. He should have checked the check. Basic police work. Instead, he assumed. She met Maya's eyes. I'm sorry this happened to you. Maya rubbed her wrists where the cuffs had left red marks. It's not the first time, Lieutenant. Won't be the last. Maybe not. But it should be. Brennan stood. You're free to go. Your supervisor is sending someone to pick you up. We'll handle Morrison and file an incident report. I imagine the bank will be reaching out to you as well. I don't want their apology, Maya said, standing. I just want to do my job. Understood. Brennan opened the door, then paused. For what it's worth, Agent Chen, keep doing what you're doing. We need more people like you out there. Outside the precinct, Maya waited on the steps for her ride. The Seattle drizzle had turned into proper rain. She didn't mind. It felt cleansing somehow. Her partner, Marcus Webb, pulled up 20 minutes later in an unmarked sedan. She slid into the passenger seat without a word. You okay? Marcus asked as he pulled into traffic. I've had better days. Supervisor's pissed. Not at you at the situation. He's already on the phone with the bank's CEO. Maya watched the city slide past her window. I could have flashed my badge, Marcus. Could have ended it before the cops even showed up. But you didn't. Because the op matters. Does it? 8 months of work, and I almost blew it because some bank manager decided I looked like a criminal. Marcus was quiet for a moment. You know what I think? I think you handled it perfectly. You kept your cover. You stayed calm. Yeah, it was degrading and wrong and shouldn't have happened. But you didn't let it break you. That's not nothing, Maya. She turned to look at him. They put me in handcuffs in front of 50 people because they decided I didn't look like I belonged. How is that okay? It's not. It's the furthest thing from okay. Marcus' jaw tightened. But you proved them wrong without saying a word. You stood there and let the truth come out. That bank manager and that cop? They're going to remember this for the rest of their careers. Maybe it'll make them think twice next time. That's a pretty optimistic take. I'm an optimistic guy. Marcus glanced at her. Also, between you and me, the bank is about to have a very educational conversation with federal regulators about discriminatory practices. Your supervisor made sure of that. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Good. They drove in silence for a while. Then Maya said, the op's compromised, isn't it? If anyone from the network saw me at that bank already handled. We're saying it was your cousin who got arrested. Mistaken identity. The cousin has bad credit, tried to deposit a bad check, you're embarrassed by the family connection. It actually strengthens your cover, shows you've got shady relatives. Quick thinking. We've got a good team. Marcus pulled up in front of Maya's apartment building. Take the rest of the day. Tomorrow we regroup. Maya nodded and climbed out. She was halfway to the door when Marcus called out through his open window. Hey, Maya? You matter. Not just as an agent. As a person. What happened today was wrong. Don't let them make you forget that. She raised a hand in acknowledgement and headed inside. 3 months later, the operation culminated in 17 arrests and the seizure of $8.3 million in laundered money. Maya's testimony was crucial in securing convictions. The case made national news, though Maya's name was kept out of it, her identity protected. Gerald Hutchins was fired from First Commerce Bank. Brandon Pierce was reassigned to a position with no customer contact and mandatory bias training. Officer Morrison received a formal reprimand and was required to complete a course on implicit bias in law enforcement. The bank paid a settlement to avoid a federal discrimination lawsuit, with the money going to fund financial literacy programs in underserved communities. Maya never went back to that bank. She didn't need to. Her point had been made, not through anger or confrontation, but through the quiet dignity of someone who knew her own worth, regardless of what others assumed. On the wall of her home office, she kept a single reminder of that day, Lieutenant Brennan's business card, with a handwritten note on the back, character is who you are when it would be easier to be someone else. Thank you for your service. Maya looked at it sometimes, when cases got hard or the weight of prejudice felt too heavy. It reminded her that change happens slowly, person by person, choice by choice. Every time someone made assumptions about her, she had a decision to make, let it break her, or let it forge her into something stronger. She chose strength. Every single time.